With a keyboard and some tea lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be.
And we're live.
He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius! He's got a plugin for that. Clicks and tricks from his marketing hat. Evil genius!
That's the new theme song.
Thanks
to my colleague Luke Stacy, who's back helping me out with enough of that. Hey guys, it's Friday. It's June 20th. I am late for good reason. Anytime I want to set up something remarkable, everything hits the fan. I like to do it like in the air with the engines running. Send the guy out, work on the engines while you're at 30,000 feet, put on the oxygen mask. But anyway, we're here, we're live. We're off to a good start. It sounds like my audio's working. I'm just going to double check here. You guys check in. We got a good crowd today. Yep, it's working. I have so much to share today. I want to send a big shout out to my new friend Amy in Florida, who is hopefully watching and listening as she works. The rest of you guys, thanks for coming. Maybe we have today a few of you want to say hello. Sharon is hello. Hopefully we have a few guys that were also interested in what I'm talking about today, Lalo and so forth. So just say hello, jump on in. The new Evil G song is a hybrid of my old online personality, the Evil Genius from Widget Laboratory and then Lab Secrets. Might be making a comeback. Good morning, Karina. Hey, bueno. And anybody else wants to say hi. Today is going to be a date I want to mark in the calendar. I think you guys will too, because good morning, John. Speed and capability with which the AI stuff has kicked in has shocked even myself. Lalo did make it. I got to get my whole situation worked out. Normally I'd have that intro song playing and I would be here on time, but today I needed to go and freshen up. I've been up since 6 a.m. The speed and the capability with which the AI stuff is kicked in is remarkable. And so today, the reason I'm glad a lot of you guys are here is because I need to share with you how this has changed the paradigm of what you're going to be doing for your business. Really, literally, not exaggerating expense-wise. Your business is never going to be the same from here on out. And I have a few things to unpack, and I'm going to have a lot of show and tell, and I have functional stuff to show you. So this is live. I've also had dozens of you already get on board with this program, and a few of you guys here today are clients of mine who have in the past done bigger projects or are just curious. What we're going to show today is how all of those things that used to be a pain point and a problem for us are not so much anymore, and why. So I'm going to come with toys and tricks, but let me do this first. Let me go into this mode. I'm also really pretty happy about my Ozbot camera because it does allow me some great degree of control. It is actually not that sunny out today, which is unfortunate, but I'm here in my studio. I feel like I got a good balance. Okay, let's start with the biggest thing. Good morning, Chris from California as well. Oh, Kurt's here too. Hey, Kurt, good morning from the Midwest. Hopefully you're biking today as well. Let's unpack the first thing. Small origin story reminder. Many of you have heard this a lot, but when I started in technology, it was around not technology, but the WordPress thing. It was really around 2006, right around the time WordPress started. And it was because I came off of an experience with a third-party SaaS platform called Ning. And one of the things about that was at the time, there was the ownership, the control, the false promises of the gatekeeper about what it is you're going to get if you build your business there, if you put your trust into that human being, into those human beings. And what's ironic here is that I feel my moment has come with you guys, especially as my audience. Currently have probably around 4,400 of you strong that are actively involved with me and 45,000 others that I've encountered along the way. What I think is the most important thing for us as human beings running businesses, starting it right now, going forward, is the humanity aspect of it. If you're a sci-fi fan as I am and you follow any kind of stuff from Star Wars to Star Trek to Aldous Huxley and so on, or if you read any kind of other fan fiction or real fiction, the reality of the future is that the humanity has worked out a way to work with their technology that does not take away the most important thing, which is the human part. And right now we're really at a crossroads where I'm a little bit freaked out, to be honest, about how fast and how far we've gone with what we're capable of doing with AI, because we haven't sorted the shit out yet about how it's going to affect the people who are in the businesses or the industries, when the things that they used to do, which were very manually oriented, are no longer necessary. It's not that dissimilar, I don't think, from what probably the Luddites felt at the turn of the last century when the automated looms came along and got rid of their jobs immediately. Their response at the time, of course, historically, was to try to burn the looms and the factories down, led by this guy Ludd. But the truth is that didn't work out. Similarly, here we have a humanity where the technology that we're going to today talk about makes it possible for you and everyone here, for yourself or for your clients, to really revolutionarily change your workflow. I have been able to do things in minutes that took me weeks, in hours that took me a year. Here's the good news, though. Instead of reacting like, oh, woe was me, my life is over, or it's all doom and gloom for humanity, I think we can look at this a different way. We now have the capability as humans to use the tools that are available by becoming familiar with the tools and using those instead of the old-fashioned processes. Let me relate this to WordPress. With WordPress, when I started, it was a clanky, janky box of stuff, PHP, HTML, a bunch of things, and we had to go into the woods and chop down a tree and carve it into a table. I mean, it was really rudimentary. The first themes were just a shell, and we had to learn CSS and PHP and HTML and JavaScript and all these things that, quite frankly, I earned my chops on. But it was very, very tedious. And that's what led to the second revolution, which was the page builders, sometime around 2014. Elementor famously, Divi was the first one, Beaver Builder, and so forth. But when we came up into the 2020s, we started to get the Gutenberg stuff, and then things just fell apart. I think the leadership of WordPress did not understand what it was capable of, and so it just left it to the wild, wild west of everybody at the flea market, where build anything you want, any way you want. Don't worry about how it works with other stuff, and let's just randomly update core and feature and this and that and this and that. So telling you a little bit what you know, I decided after 16 years or more of doing that to famously create the IKEA method, this MinuteLaunch system, which over years, working with Luke Stacy at the time, worked out to help many of my clients to efficiently get to the outcome they wanted without having to just randomly throw parts and pieces in and create a Frankenstein monster. But all of those parts and pieces still had their janky manual, independently created controls. So to set up the theme, to set up the CRM, to set up WooCommerce, my God, to do all of the things I was teaching you and showing you, and you therefore had to teach and show your customers, all these manual processes, like how to literally make a rug by manually sewing it together, instead of, here's the big picture, what we have now, what I'm going to show you now, good morning, Julie, is a way for us to directly interact with the MinuteLaunch stack, which is still number one benefit to you. A curated stack of robots. Think of it as robots in a factory you own and control every step of the way. No oligarch, no SaaS company can shut you down. Nobody can scrape your data. Nobody can train on your data. Nobody can screw around with your finances by saying, I'm sorry, I don't like you or what you're doing anymore, or your politics or your money, and you're just not welcome here anymore. So having the box with the curated set of the best robots delivered by yours truly, the guy, the evil G, with the yellow vest at IKEA, means that for you and your clients, the only last step was, how do I get everything set up and doing these amazing, crazy things that I keep seeing happening in the wild, but in a box that I own and control for a fixed price? This is where the MinuteLaunch AI comes in. And again, I was thinking that it was going to take me weeks or months to get here. One or two hot tub trips later, and messing around for the last 48 to 72 hours, and I've got what is essentially the fully functional MinuteLaunch AI and the business model around it that I'm going to share with you, because here's where it breaks down. And then I promise we're going to go into the goodies. When you have a business for yourself, the cost of that box is $97 a month for the traditional LLMs. And that is to say the open router style LLMs that will, in theory, not train on your data, but it's not like they have a guarantee about it. But using traditional servers with what I offer in the package, rocket.net, unlimited email questions to the concierge, all of the software updated automatically almost daily, so you never have to buy anything else. 97 bucks. Then we do like I'm going to show you today, and I've been showing you with examples like Julie and several other of you guys. We're just building solutions now where I no longer have to waste your time or my time teaching you how to use all the manual controls to create stuff, configure stuff, do stuff. We just literally have the MinuteLaunch AI as our intermediary, who is trained with the coding that I put into it to understand what's inside of the kit, what's in the box, what should it do, how should it do. So it understands. If you talk to it, as I'm going to show you today, say, I want to create a blog post about training monkeys. Okay, it understands what to do with that, and it can turn it into the media. It can turn it into the marketing. It can turn it into a repository of data that you and your clients can both consume, but also use to track how well it's performing. Like if you created a product, see who in your audience wants to buy it and why, which things they click on and why. There's no need any longer for us to suffer through the manual interfaces and the plugin setups, but we're still using those plugins, at least some of them at the moment, as the robots in the factory. And many of them we're throwing away. As time goes on, I can 100% guarantee, here's my prediction. I was right about MinuteLaunch, and I was right about what else is going on, but this shocked me. So I'm going to make a prediction that's bold. My prediction is that I will achieve, and I hope other people will as well with whatever they're doing, a way for us to remove a good majority of the plugins. Most of the plugins in the stack are what I would call helper plugins on top of the core of WordPress. That is to say, they use the core, but give an interface, the old-fashioned gauges and dials interface for you and I to work with. We're not going to need that anymore. And we're not going to need a lot of the analytics stuff anymore. And we're not going to need any of the bullshit that comes from some of the people who have taken advantage of the last 8 years, 11 years in WordPress and built up these ridiculously non-human practices. And I'm speaking about Awesome Motive and plugin authors like that, where they got away with it because they had you as a captive audience and they abused that human relationship. What I am in favor of is the liberation of what we can all do as human beings and allowing us each to be treated with a certain dignity and respect, because the only thing we're going to have left, honestly, is our humanity when robots can essentially level the playing field across everywhere and anything. And if you think of the Star Trek and you think of the other science fiction, like with the food replicator, in Star Trek, they don't go to the food replicator and then set up a bunch of controls and pour ingredients and stuff. They just say, I want a ham sandwich with a Diet Pepsi, if they still have that in the future. And it understands what they need and want based upon understanding the humanity, the training. But what it does is not stop the human beings from interacting on the ship. It does what it was supposed to have done early on, was to liberate them to be exploring and seeking out new life and new civilizations, and not having a 7-step cancellation process because Syed Balki thinks you're an idiot and doesn't respect you as a human being. Okay. Going to show you what I've got, but I also want to say one thing. The way this prices out, I'm having an introductory level that's going to be below. The main product that you guys, most all of you have, is the $97 a month MinuteLaunch starter. That has all of the software, and it will have the MinuteLaunch AI. It will have a built-in open router API for a certain amount of credits. So you don't have to add your own API unless you're doing crazy heavyweight stuff. It's going to have unlimited email questions, again, directly answered by a human being, with or without my AI help. I'm still going to be directly involved. It's going to have the community. It's going to have all the things it is now with the MinuteLaunch AI. Okay. The pro plan is the thing that for you guys as implementers are going to make it possible for you to sell something that your cost is $29.70 a month. And you could sell it for 97, 147, 197 and beyond, simply because it's going to have this capability that by itself will be useful and valuable. Trust me, you'll believe me when you see it. But there's going to be a new thing. It's going to be probably $20 a month. And the $20 a month is my mass market, mobile friendly version of the MinuteLaunch AI. Why? Because the inspiration for all of this came when I was sitting in the hot tub, and I'm going to tell you the story. When I was in the hot tub, I use Slack. Whenever I have good ideas or I want to say something, do something, I'm using all these crazy tools on my iPhone. And all of that data is all over the place. It's everywhere. In my head, I said, wait a second. I've already got the media hub. I've already got a mobile, a desktop, whatever. Why don't I just take the $20 a month Rocket.net hosting that I'm already offering? And if I turn that box that somebody can own and control into a personal media mind marketing hub where everything and anything they want to know or talk about, save, share, create, including, wait for it, specific stuff from maybe people who are implementers like you, Lalo, who has thousands upon thousands of specialized courses, and you've got a social network. And why would somebody not want to just consume your content by talking to it or asking about it or putting in their own 2 cents about it, where their personal AI assistant can translate what they need to know into interaction with you and the community, or speak directly to the MinuteLaunch AI that you're running. In other words, instead of, oh, let's type into the community, let's type into the forums, let's figure out by searching with faceted search where the stuff is. Doesn't it make more sense in 2025 that you're just going to have something like we all have now with Claude or ChatGPT, where you can ask a million questions, but it's specifically related to the website and the content and the mindset of the human who runs that website, whether it's Spence or Lalo or Ann or Sharon or anybody, John. Okay, enough yapping. Let's do some show and tell. I want to tell you, as always, I work without a net. This morning, while the emails were being sent out, I was still trying to improve the features of this, but I have so much to show you. I just decided we're going to throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. First of all, let me start out with, this is not the final version. This is not even today's final version, but this is the working version that I want to show you something remarkable to start with. Concept of what you're looking at. You're looking right now at the first gen of the mobile friendly MinuteLaunch AI. Think of it on the back end as a custom post type repository. Everything and anything that is created by you as the creator. And by the way, let me know if this is just too small to see, because I can zoom it in a bit. I know my desktop is kind of big here. Everything and anything that you or somebody on your site creates. This is important. Each person who interacts with this will have their own ability to have an individual experience and can train the persona to their own preference. You are old and so am I, Kurt. So let me zoom in a bit. Okay. So I'm zoomed in, so this looks a little weirder. So in other words, if Kurt is logged in to my personal MinuteLaunch AI enabled system, Kurt can have an experience that's different than Julie or Sharon or John or Lalo. This is hugely important. Lalo has people who are being trained, and I know that they have multi-language. They have different idiomatic expressions. There's different terms. There's different things you want to limit and say and do. So you'll have the rule set of how the general site can interact with people, but each individual who logs in as a member or for free, it doesn't matter, will be able to have their own personas and settings and stuff. Next, as an interface, each individual will be dumping their information into a central repository. Why? Because this becomes the engine, the box, the storage of all the knowledge, all of the knowledge of your business. This is where everything that you or the AI or your clients or your customer, everything gets deposited into here. Why? Because then the very same tool can become more knowledgeable, better, when it trains itself upon the stuff that was created and edited and curated and made better. And it acts as a tool for me to enable two very geeky things. One of them is called MCP, Mary Charlie Papa, and the other is LLM text, Lima Lima Mike text. Both of those will allow your site to specifically curate and share or export whatever it is that has been acquired, learned, curated, and more. Imagine right now, by the way, how freaking difficult it is for anybody. Somebody give me a high five on this. Anybody who's created a ton of content on your site right now to try to share it with somebody else. It's a freaking nightmare of using export tools, or you have to do all these processes, and then there's security, and then there's what, who, when, where, why. Imagine with the box that you own and control for your business, or your clients have for their business. If these boxes can just automatically and naturally talk to each other, share the data, and you don't have to become a programming or a coding expert, because the Evil G's got you covered. Spence has got you covered. This is built into the cost, whether it's on your box or whether it's on the ones that your clients buy from you, or whether it's on the starter ones that they get for themselves. These will all be able to talk together in the very same way that I showed you last week, how we could share media. This will be a bi-directional or a unidirectional way to share the content. So this is a repository that you own and control. Nobody can necessarily use it or train on it or do anything with it. They can't shut you down. They can't take it away. They can't say they don't like your business or your politics or any of that nonsense. Now, there's some general settings. This is a work in progress as well. On the back end, there are going to be the abilities to set up all the external personalized choices of APIs and add-ons and so forth. But out of the box, I'm going to provide that all as part of the service. So in other words, you don't have to dick around to get this started. You and your clients just turn it on, log in, and you can start going to town. And we'll figure out where that works out in the future as far as credits. But I have ample ability with things like Open Router to provide you the necessities you need. I'll demonstrate that here today so that you can just turn it on and it works. What does this mean to start with? This means that as of the launch of this, you now have a site that has all of the software you ever needed, a concierge at the front desk to answer all your questions, infinite amounts of all the knowledge about how to do the marketing and the automation and the transactional and the sales funnels and the social networking. All that stuff is built into this as part of our community and what I'm offering. But now I'm able to give you a ready to go, personalized, literally engine with AI capabilities to create, save, share, interact with this thing that has just hit the shores. And you don't have to set it up. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to trust some stranger somewhere. And best of all, unlike all of those other systems, you own it. You control it. It's built on WordPress with the open source guarantees. So therefore, nobody can just say, I'm sorry, you're gone. I keep repeating that because I can't say how important that is. If you're building on any of these other SaaS platforms for these other services, first of all, the amount of knowledge you need to connect all of these things and make them work together, way beyond anything anybody can imagine. Even though it sounds really cool that I can go into Google Firebase and tell it to make an application, that doesn't do anything for you. That's not a business. That's not even a starting point. That's a gimmick, a card trick. You have to know what it created, how it created it to be able to use it. And then from there, running a business on that, good luck. Whereas with WordPress, we're using all of the robots in the same factory that we've always had. We're just eliminating the need for you to have to manually set them up and manually manage them. We've got a new manager in town. Okay, let me give you an example of something. In today's world, of course, I can go to ChatGPT and I can just independently, create a project or whatever. I can, for John Lawler, I can go to Notebook LLM. I can set up projects and go, I'd like you to make a blog post about kitty cats. Okay. And it will make some random stuff. And then I could potentially edit it, copy it, paste it, maybe get some pictures for me, do some stuff, put it into my site manually. That seems to me to be as much manually. What if we did it like this? What if instead you had your site, MinuteLaunch API, MinuteLaunch AI, you go into the voice recorder, mobile or desktop, because I prefer now to talk to this thing. And I hope it's going to work, even though technically I'm on this mic. And let's say, create a blog post about how to take care of kitty cats if you're a new cat owner. Two things happen. First of all, it creates a voice recording, which could be very useful if I wanted to convert that into 11 Labs and use it, for example, as a artificial podcast, right? Between me and a person from Great Britain. Second of all, it transcribes it. So I've got the data and it stores that automatically. Notice I have the options here set up, my processing. I want to actually have it enhanced and transcribed. But let's go one step further. Notice I said, create a blog post. MinuteLaunch AI is smart enough to understand, I want to create a post. I want to create a product. I want to create a booking. I want to do this. I want to do that. It knows all of the robots in the factory, the WordPress features and plugins. Let's see what happens. We click processing. So now you, your team, even one of the people who are on your site, using the box that's on their mobile phone while they're in the hot tub or doing whatever they want to do, riding the e-bike. Maybe, for example, your business involves a lot of pictures. Show me what that forklift looks like, or maybe what that clothing you're trying to buy or fit into looks like, or maybe you have the label on some drugs that you're trying to ask Dr. Chen here about whether he should take, or maybe it is you just want to share some cool stuff from your skeet shooting event. Like, look at the targets I got, or look at all the people in this. What most people want to do is use their phone like a regular collection device, right? Star Trek, it's a transcorder or, a tricorder. Why would you not? But on your desktop, equally easy. Notice I'm using my microphone now more than ever. So what's happening is while I'm talking, it just took the whole thing, and guess what it did? It ran out to Google, found appropriate images, got the images, created a freaking awesome blog post with all the content curated, ready to go. It knows what it's doing because I've trained it on the robots in the factory inside your WordPress site in MinuteLaunch. And of course, you or somebody else can go ahead and edit this. Let me zoom this back out, even though it's a little smaller. You can edit this because this is ready to go. It's just in a regular classic block, but that's fine. You just click on the classic block and you convert it, and you can change it around, do whatever you want, or ask the AI to change it around. Okay. But wait, there's more. The content itself is, in this case, I said draft mode. Let's publish it, but let's look at what happened on the back end. Number one, in the MMMH items, we have two things that came in. We've got the voice recording here. And then we've also got the post. Okay. So it took in the content that you voice recorded, and it's there for use again and again and again and again. But we also created the post. For basic users, this is everything, because what I anticipate this is going to be most useful for, and that's why I'm offering a $20 version of this, is that for the same $20, a normal person like Kurt and I love to e-bike or bike and mountain bike and do barbecuing. I can just take a shit ton of pictures and I can use this tool to bring them in and use them as part of what it is that I am interested in, so that I can share them in the social network automatically or later. So for example, if I go to the image capability here, right, I can either upload them from my mobile device. In this case, I'm on the desktop. So let's take something that I created today. I want to share this great thumbnail. Okay. I can have the AI automatically describe it. It's Spence, or I can do it myself about AI. You have the ability to tag it and categorize it, right? Office hours. This is all common stuff. But this is the cool part. When somebody's doing this asynchronously, whenever they want, they can then have that shared to the community or not, because it's in a place they own and control, but they can also selectively share it. But when I upload this on the receiving end, if you will, we've got controls and tools that I'm building out even more, but we've got the ability to search and find and display any of the things, of course, that are created, right? And just as a rudimentary thing, Office, these are the kind of things that for the human being are great, but it's not going to matter because the human part of this is probably going to be hidden for the most part. I think what's going to happen mostly is that everyone's just going to ask the AI, do I have any images about Office or hours or something? Because this will be able to be trained. I don't necessarily have it worked out 100% here. This will be trained with your choice as the site owner of which content should come from the site and which should come from Google. Right now, this is the kind of answer because I haven't trained it. It's sort of saying like, I can't give you stuff because I don't know what you're asking for. But when this is trained to look for the stuff on your site or to allow this or that or the other thing, you will have complete control. Now, Lalo asked me a question. Where are you exactly? Work, where you are. That's actually a good point. Is work is literally on a laptop, on a phone, in a hot tub. Lalo was asking me this morning about certain things for his business that involve group bundles or people who have different seats or being able to do this or that. Imagine that we can have the AI automatically differentiate between this person's capabilities, access or not. Because on the back end, I'm going to show you something else. This is a different experiment, but I want to show you how this will be extended further on the back end. I'm going to show you this. I've done this in previous videos, and this is not part of the new front interface because I'm actually making a division of labor here, but it is relevant. Imagine if everything about running your site, all the mechanics, all the hard stuff, the updates, the plugins, the software, the security, everything else was managed by this very same tool so that you didn't have to futz around with it. That would make your life infinitely easier, I imagine, right? So one of the things that is part of where I'm going with all this is having the deep knowledge in a way that's secure because you're the administrator of what the site is doing means that I can program this to do stuff that's beyond the scope of normal MCPs or API connectors or any of the other outside world stuff. And I think that that's a big deal because when you're talking about the difference between WordPress as a platform or using these other tools, all those other tools are independent and you have to have them talk with a protocol. With WordPress, we can break all the rules and we can break them today in a safe way to give you what you need. So again, back to many of you, Karina, Lalo, when we're talking about things for your clients and your businesses, this is the way that we can do all that custom stuff, but not in a bunch of rando snippets. Here, for example, is, let's zoom in on this. Here's my engine that I'm using for some of the higher end capabilities, and it's an experiment, but watch what I do. I'm going to enable the deep site context info, and I'm going to say, list out all of the plugins on this site and their versions. Okay. Why? Now, the same MinuteLaunch AI is going to be capable of delivering knowledge about what's running under the hood of this site, what it is that is actually making it tick. Are there updates necessary? Is there anything that needs attention? And in addition to that, it'll be able to look at all of the customers and WooCommerce, what they've ordered, what they've clicked on, what they've bought. So this delivers, here's all my active plugins, right? I'll give an example to you guys as well, because again, you're seeing the front and the back end capabilities here. Let's do like list out the last 3 posts and their titles on this site versus elsewhere, right? Generate content. So I've got this capability where this is set up to have access directly through the database or through other methods to the content on this site that was created or the stuff that was part of one of the other plugins. Fluent campaigns, the emails from there, the Fluent forms, WooCommerce, orders, products, what customers have bought. So here's the last 3 posts on the site and their titles along with the ID numbers. Any of you who've been watching me in action know this means that automatically I can have the AI go, hey, go look at the last 5 posts and compare them to what products have been created and what people have been talking about in the social network, and make a new post for me here, a new product, create a sales page and send it out to Twitter. Notice here we've got the capabilities for setting up the kinds of prompting and other attention getters like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We'll be able to automatically generate and output that. I've shown you that already in other videos. Here's one other feature that's pretty mind-blowing. Acquiring content. It's also kind of freaking me out. This is what I'm calling the I'm going to go to this. I have to go to a different site to show you this because I'm running this. This is right now going to be called the Media Hub Importer. Imagine when I showed you last week how you have, for example, an AI tool or you want to create content. What a pain in the ass it is to try to get all the content yourself. What if instead, Kurt and I were like talking about barbecues, okay? I just have a tool that the AI or myself or one of my clients can use to acquire content to be used or shared. Barbecue grills. This is in my site, and I have the Boolean logic, right? And, or, and I could have multiple terms and different formats, size, and so forth. I can even say on a specific website if I want. But when I search for this or the AI search for this, this is one of the helper functions I'm building in. It will acquire through the API provided by Google Images the best content, hopefully, that is available for me to use. Let's see what we get. I can either download these to my media library directly, and I can go in list view if it's easier. I want to do, let's say this one, this one, this one, and this one. Or I can just hot link to them because we're in 2025. Hot linking is not illegal or a problem anymore. If you're using my media hub, hot linking is the obvious choice here. But the point is, if I download this to the media library, I'm able to essentially go out and immediately, or the AI can immediately acquire all of the information and images from any source without you having to bother with it. And what a huge time saver, because if you're using the media hub, you will have not only the ability to create endless content to be reused, but you can also fill it up. You can import whatever else you need, right? So this imported for, let's go to the media library, which again, imagine is your shared media hub. And now we've got essentially, it's a little slow because my computer's slow. You've got all of those images brought in, and it does one other thing. The AI is already programmed to optimize the metadata about it. So do you know, like when you're normally editing stuff, it's a pain in the ass because it has all those blank fields, right? In this case, all of the metadata is pre-filled. The title is created. It creates sometimes, you know, black barbecue grill, green big brown dog. I've told it to keep it super simple, but in other words, it doesn't come up with weird URL names or stuff that makes no sense. So you've got the stack of plugins already hosted, the guy at IKEA, everything for yourself and your clients. The clients can start, if they buy directly, $20, use that to connect to any other enabled sites or use it as a personal tool. You've got $97. You've got the MinuteLaunch starter for yourself to use for your whole site and anybody who wants to just go to the website. You've got the ability, by the way, to white label it. So notice in this version here, Media Hub, right? You can go in on the back end, and I'll be adding more features like this, and you can customize it. So instead of Media Hub, you call it Mañana No Mas, Kurt's brand, right? And if I was to go, by the way, I'll use the tool in a meta way. Watch this. This is very meta. If I go over here and I search for, let's see, I'm going to try, I'll see if Mañana No Mas comes in. Mañana No Mas. Let's see what comes up on the Google search for this, if he's got a logo in there. There it is. Okay. So what I can do is I'm going to select this. I'm going to add it to, let's say, my media hub, or save it as a hot link. It makes no difference. And I can use that for my personalized version, obviously along with color schemes and everything else, so that when somebody uses the ready to go Media Hub thing, or copy the URL, they get the experience that you want them to have. So I'm saving, let me just test that that's the actual image. Hold on. It is. Okay. So let's save that. And let's see if that worked out. And there it is. I would use a circular logo, but now it's Kurt's thing, Kurt's client's thing. And now this person can do anything they need to do to save, share, interact, create links. Oh, you know what? There was a great website or a great thing that I wanted to go to. It was called, WPLaunchify.com, right? If I wanted to create content in the future, or I just wanted to bookmark it or have my AI know about it, obviously I just put it in here. This is easy bookmarking stuff, WP Launchify. But it also can do hot linking of other stuff. So if I use the image library here, I could just paste that in. Let's actually take the Mañana No Mas image. Let's see how it does here. Let's copy this URL. Let's go into here. Kurt. Let's see if it gives me what I need. And we should have that in the library. And there it is. So a lot of cool stuff. I was going to do today more examples of how to create this, that, and the other thing. But what I want to explain to you is that the reason that this has become an imperative is I was discussing with, for example, Julie and a couple of others of you who have projects with me now. All of the projects that I've been doing had involved a certain amount of using the tools like ACF Pro or other setups, even with Cadence. There's no need for me to do that anymore. The reason that this is such a big deal, that your business will never be the same, is because this literally means that nothing else I ever do from this point forward in WordPress is ever going to involve setting up components. I'm going to spend all of my effort in finalizing what this does, releasing it to mass markets of people at $20 a month, $97 a month, or $297 for 10 sites. Having bolt-ons, add-ons, because in the future, the very near future, what we're going to be doing is what I will call prompt engineering. Notice when I use this tool, it doesn't need me to know where the switches and the dials are. It needs me to know how it is, let's add this back in, how it is to say what it is supposed to do. That's prompt engineering. So if I wanted to make something else, let's try it. Create a page that explains to people in about 6 paragraphs, including Google Images, how to be a WordPress professional using the new tools included in WP Launchify's MinuteLaunch AI system. Be sure to talk about the history of WordPress, the politics of WordPress, and all the things that have led to this moment in 2025. Make sure it is formatted with nice images and it's professionally written. Okay, that's a prompt. I've got my voice, but I've got the transcript here and I'm going to process this. And my point is, if you're an implementer today, you are going to soon be out of business because nobody, I hate to say this, nobody is going to pay you to set up themes or do CSS or make pretty things. Nobody is going to be interested. Lalo, nobody is going to be interested very shortly in dragging themselves through 1,000 courses and looking for the right one. They want to go to the site and have your content specifically delivered and curated in a way that they can go, listen, man, I just need a certificate for importing this and that, right? Whether it is, or John, whether you're an outsourced professional, a marketing person, good luck trying to make marketing campaigns when somebody's got a tool like this that will allow them to essentially do all the research in one handheld device while they're on the beach and get their job done. My point is, this is how we as humans are going to save humanity. It's by owning and controlling, treating each other well, but using the tools to our advantage. While I was yapping, it did everything. Let's go look at what it did. And again, this is a work in progress for me because I've just started training this yesterday. Okay. It's got a post, it's got graphics. Let's go. I'm going to give you the link and you guys can go look. This is a live site. Okay. Here's the link. We can look at this together. I'm not saying I'll leave this link up all the time, but becoming a WordPress pro with Launchify's MinuteLaunch AI, a journey through time and innovation. I'll probably put the Evil Genius song in here. Come on, you guys, Stick with me on this. Can I get a high five from anybody? Does anybody want to comment on what you're seeing here? I know you're very polite and everything else, but for God's sake, are you with me on this? Because this is what I didn't think was going to happen so fast, but this is the journey that I was essentially taking you on from day one. The vision of this has become so real because all of the companies that control the assets and the technology have decided to take the safeties off of all of the guns and just give us all these crazy tools. I have this unique situation because we're in WordPress where I can get deep platform integration with these very capable tools, but essentially massage them into whatever I need it to be immediately. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a holy crap. Julie, I know, is on the holy crap. Whoop, whoop. You guys are all participatory. Let me give you the sales pitch. Here's the sales pitch. It's the same goddamn thing I've been offering all along. Why? Because unlike Syed Balki, I value one thing, the humanity here. I value you as human beings. And Sharon, by the way, has been with me since day one. Since day one, I've said, my grandfather taught me when I was a kid, the only thing in this life you have that's worth anything is your reputation and how you treat other people. The golden rule. Your job is to leave this world with that reputation as good as it was when you got it or better. And screwing people over is never my thing. In fact, there have been many times historically, Sharon can back me on this, that I have given away $20,000, $30,000 worth of value because I wanted to honor my promises that I want to always keep, that I said, you'll never have me double back on you, screw you over, do anything. So this looks a little nicer, but it's the same $97 a month you guys all signed up for, and you're not paying anything more than you originally were offered. It's the same thing. I've got the same thing even with the discount, because if you buy it for the year, you get a discount. You get 2 months extra for the price of paying up front. So 12 months for the price of 10. If you go with the Pro, you now get 10 client sites with all the features. You're still the one person who is going to interact with me. I'm not going to interact with your clients unless they buy it independently. But if you did send them to buy it independently, guess what? I give you $20 a month on every 97. That's $240 a year if you want your client to deal with Spence directly. But if you take them on yourself, it costs you $30 and you can sell it for 97, or you can sell it for 197. And for you, you can white label it completely. John, that thing you were talking about, you don't need it. I got it for you. I told you I'd have it for you. You just white label it. Your clients can use the tool independently to improve, going around on the beach, taking pictures, sharing it, talking about stuff, asking for help, either with your content specifically or what you say is a blend of stuff. You can create a media hub so you don't need to have all the extra expense and hassle of an Amazon SES, because these are Rocket CDN cloud hosted sites. If you put all your content into one spot, it can be delivered to anyone, anywhere, anytime, either directly through the Media Hub client, through MCP, through LLM text, whatever. Now, the thing that's crazy about this is that it's so easy for me now to extend this back to where my roots were. When I was Spence the Evil Genius back on that hosted platform where I started this story, and they screwed over 12,500 people at Ning because they didn't like that I was essentially giving everybody toys and candies like Willy Wonka. What I learned from that is that people want what they want. By participating here, you can simply say, hey, Spence, I need this and this and this and this and this, and I need it yesterday. I go, no problem. Here's how we do it. You can use the same tools and follow my instructions. I will be creating things that everybody can use now, which will be curated prompts that the MinuteLaunch AI will be able to use. You can engage me hourly, engage me as a VIP. You can have custom things built, like with Julie's site is a good example of a framework solution that can extend into multitudes of business models, not the least of which is for Julie, she has all these skeet shooter people who are going to use their phones to take pictures and talk, and the wind is this and the weather is that, and they're going to pay extra to her. But here's one last tip on that. I'm willing with some of you to act as your technology partner. That is to say, you still pay for my VIP time to configure it, but that I can give you the freebie, if you will, on acting on the hosting and the distribution. So in other words, all of your clients come and buy your specific white label solution, but it's still hosted through my main setup here. Why? Because this is going to be as part of my relationships with other hosting companies as well. The new paradigm, I think, for WordPress, the hosting companies, there's over 600 of them, are all basically racing to zero. And what I'm arguing, and I have at least 2 early adopter partners, is that they will have a certain slice of audience who are like, listen, man, I can get a white label device that's for my branded hosting company that lets all my customers do everything they want and have a ball, and they're still paying for hosting because the hosting itself is no longer of any value. It's what you can do with the hosting. I love you too, Sharon, and I love all of you guys as well. So hopefully I've made it clear where I'm going with all of this is, I think in some weird way, this was meant to be. My whole experience, the hero's journey, everything from the stories I told in the day and raising my kids to today, and the back and the journey with the legs and this and that and the politics and the arguing and everything, it feels very strangely like I've arrived at that moment in time. I discussed this with my friend Amy the other day, that I've arrived at the moment in time where this was meant to be. I do not care to cause any harm or grief to Mullenweg or even Syed Balki, but I am telling you that I care about you and the rest of the people who are being fed a truckload of bullshit, that there's a better way. If you follow me on this, if you work with me on this, I will give you 100% of my name and reputation after 45 years as an entrepreneur and 20 years in WordPress, that this is the solution that I feel will take us humans into the place where we can not only survive, but thrive by doing things as an individual who can help other individuals, whether you be a yoga instructor, or whether you be a motocross biker, whether you be somebody who has membership and training, whether you be somebody who's a service, doesn't make a difference, even just for fun. This is the future I see. And I think it was the place I was meant to be after all of the things that I've learned and struggled with. So I want to say, I appreciate you. I love all of you guys. This is what's going on. And by the way, the WordCamp and the rest of the stuff, there are people in our community who have demonstrated. Raquel is in charge of a new type of WordCamp, PressConf, that demonstrates what the future of WordPress is for many of us. That is to say, for those of us who progressively and liberally want to help people instead of playing these oligarch games like Mullenweg is doing, what I see as the future is WordPress is open source. I'm not the only guy who's going to be producing this stuff, but I have an advantage because with my relationships and everything else, I can bring this to market first. I am only interested in selling the one thing that you should be selling. I'm not selling this. I'm selling join Spence on this journey, as pretty much all of you guys have anyway. Bring as many people as you can, and you'll be paid handsomely for the referrals. Because the movement I see is what WordPress was always meant to be, but the leadership lost their way. And with this, we all can benefit because guess what? I don't own and control this. You can take this, everything you create with this to go. Now, is it true that I'm hosting this and I'm controlling a certain degree of you have to pay me to get to the services? Of course, I'm not an idiot, but you can take this literally, what you've created, and say, Spence, I don't want to be with you anymore. And you're gone and you're fine. I can't shut you down. I can't stop you. I can't take it away. The software is all yours. The content is all yours. It's all ready to go. You can continue to host it anywhere you want. That's the promise that I give you because of all the things that I learned from the experience back in the day in 2006, 7, 8 with Ning, and just as being a human being and an entrepreneur, an attorney, an investor. The life that I want to lead is that I have zero regrets. I succeed in helping people be financially, emotionally, relationally successful because we don't have to stick it to each other. We're like on the same life raft. And over there are the people who don't want to do that anymore. And over there are the oligarchs. And in the middle are the robots, the AIs. Either we're going to make friends with them and use them to increase our humanity, or we're going to be victims. And I am not intending to go down as a victim. I love you guys. I hope this has been revolutionary. If you're with me, get on that 97. If you're interested in the proposition about either doing a partnership for your, if you have a big list or clients, I'm open to it. But mostly, if you retain me on the VIP, I can put together this stuff for you expeditiously because, like Julie can say, we went way out into the space and came back to earth. And now that we've got that, I've been able to do with Julie, like stuff in a day or in an hour that took us the first time 2 weeks of futzing around. And that's what I'm saying. I can very quickly adapt this to your business or additional ideas, plus apply what I think is my superpower, which is I see a million things in the air. I can bring them down to earth for your business and show you how you can sell and make money from the various capabilities, as well as the white label capabilities of this kind of a system. All right. Thank you, everybody. Love you. Have a great weekend. It's summer. I'm down to one son living with me. I intend to have a great time every day. Biked yesterday. Going to bike and walk today. I hope you do the same. By the way, looking forward to a trip to Vegas. I'll be in Vegas from the 2nd to the 5th. If any of you guys are in the vicinity, let me know. First time in the air since, God knows, September of 23, I think. So I'm looking forward to it. See you guys soon.